Welcome to the Furious Futurist, the channel where I pick apart the present to find a future we were promised in the past. And in today's interwebcast, we're going to look at the robotic companions, collaborators and foes that have dazzled sci-fi audiences since cinema began back in 1642, as I count down my top 5 robots in science fiction. Greetings, my furious friends. I am the Furious Futurist, and I wish I had a robot servant to help me with life's basic daily tasks like eating or playing the guitar, but I don't. So instead, let's look at some of the sci-fi heroes of yesteryear and today who do. And as always, I'm going to start with a couple of honorable mentions that didn't make the list. First up is Roy Batty from Blade Runner, because by now you've probably realized that I will find any excuse to crowbar in a Blade Runner reference. And unlike the source material, which specifically referred to androids, the movie version is very much a physical being. And my second honorable mention is going to be Bubs from Space Sweepers, a great character, if a little plagiarized from a few other sources, but excellently dealt with modern social issues in a charming and amusing way. But without further ado, let's get stuck straight in with number 5. If William Shakespeare were to create a robot, it would be Robbie the Robot from The Forbidden Planet. A sci-fi take on the bard's Tempest, Robbie's fascinating figure and dry wit made him such a hit with audiences that he went on to star in a string of films, TV shows, and even commercials. His enduring design appeal influenced a generation of copycats, which only cemented his position as an android icon. Number 4. Talking of films with influential iconography, Fritz Lang's Metropolis influenced a film that I may have mentioned earlier and featured a robot so far ahead of its time that its design would be echoed half a century later in another familiar guise. The machine in Mensch Hell/Maria was lauded for its groundbreaking and beautiful design and still remains an instantly recognizable image nearly 100 years later, and perhaps its human form influenced number 3. Moving away from clunky metal monstrosities, Ash from Alien, sublimely played by the late Sir Ian Holm, was an android so human that he was indistinguishable to audiences from his fleshy counterparts. Ash set a fantastic precedent for the quiet, non-threatening yet morally ambiguous and deadly bots of the franchise. Followed by the also brilliant Bishop and further expanded by David and Walter, Ash's switch from friend to fiend was also seen in number 2. I remember watching Saturn III for the first time on video and being bowled over by the hugely imposing figure of Hector. And while some may argue that he is technically a cyborg, not a robot, we can fight about that in the comments section, Hector was a prototype Terminator, also a cyborg, not a robot, but also another fascinating character who plumbed into our built-in fear that robots have the potential to independently switch from servitude to homicide, a fear that was thankfully not displayed by number 1. Continuing my populist rethink of Star Wars as a sci-fi movie, R2-D2 was everything a robot shouldn't be. Impractically designed, cheeky, rude, impetuous, emotional, and incredibly endearing. R2 was the Costello to C-3PO's Abbott and meant that every sci-fi fan in the history of time has at some point said, "Come on, R2," to their kitchen waste bin. Whilst often remotely controlled, George Lucas made the great decision to also have a version operated from within by the late actor Kenny Baker, humanizing the character even further, especially in stark contrast to Anthony Daniels' perfectly stiff and sensible C-3PO. So there we have it, and as always, please take a second to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. If you have anything you'd like me to discuss, or if you think there's any robots that should have made the top 5, please leave a comment down below. I am the Furious Futurist, and you can check out some of my other videos here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, my furious friends.